Good evening. We'll call the February 9th meeting of the Harris Township Supervisors to order. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. We will call the meeting to order, and our first item will be a public hearing on item that Mark will read.
Proposed ordinance number 383, which is amending the membership composition of the Planning Commission. In 2016, the Township began appointing 3 alternate members to the Planning Commission. These members are non-voting and could be used to meet quorum requirements if other members are absent. Staff recently discovered that the Planning Commission ordinance and bylaws were never amended to include alternates, which should have occurred to formalize their role on the Commission. Proposed ordinance 383 would amend Chapter 1, Article 3 by expanding the composition of the Planning Commission to include up to 3 alternate members. The ordinance also includes references to the municipality's planning code, which specifies when alternates are eligible to vote on matters before the Commission.
Public hearing. Going once, going twice. Move to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, now we're moving to the regular agenda. We have approval of minutes from January 5. Entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the minutes of the January 5th, 2026 meeting.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Citizen comment. On any item that's not on the agenda.
Howdy, y'all. So I'm Harmony Schmidbauer. I'm reintroducing myself as the Harris Township representative for our SCLO Library Board. So I'm here today just to give, as part of our citizen comments, a handful of quick updates from SCLO. The first one of which, as y'all might guess, is our brand new book return out in front of our municipal building. I'm kind of motivated and we wanting to come in and give some information about this and about SCLO. Thank you first and foremost to Mark, Lisa, our library directors here tonight, and Hannah, our office manager, for working to get that coordinated. We've had already 30 books collected from that return in the first 2 weeks of service. And for those who might be wondering about the frozen issue, do want to clarify that it was just a little on an angle technical issue that we were able to collaborate with Harris Township to get a 2x4 put in there so we are not having that cart rolling against the locking mechanism. So not expecting that to happen in the future, so we're all good to go there. But yeah, really exciting to see folks using that, the excitement on social media around that box, and I know I'll be using that as an excuse to get out of my house, take a little walk downtown, and return some books there. Some other quick updates from me today are around our fall fund drive success. So we did raise over $100,000 as part of that fund drive. Important to note there that those donations fund a variety of programs, and one of which, was recently there was an elephant and piggy party attended by over 200 people at the library and another 650 kids at our SCASD Reads event, and it's donations like those for those kinds of programs that not only fund materials but also fund things like our own book return. So important to continue to contribute to those, and also, thank you to anyone here who may have contributed to that fall fund drive. Also highlighting some upcoming events. Our Pat Moyer Memorial Readers Garden will be having an open house in April, tentatively the Saturday, April 18th from 10 to 2. Pending the blue and white game scheduling, we'll want to avoid all of the traffic from that and adjust that if needed. But that is a beautiful outdoor space. If you haven't seen pictures posted on social media yet, I know that it's been a long time coming to get that space up to where folks can actually really enjoy and use that outdoor space at the library. Also want to highlight that our library is now fully staffed for the first time in a year. In 2025, we hired in a new office manager as well as a head of IT services. So we are ready to go 100% for 2026, which is exciting and a nice beginning of year update. And then also I wanted to highlight one of our larger projects for 2025, which is the HVAC system, which has now been fully funded. Hoping to see some energy efficiency gains from that project. And our next major project to keep an eye out for will be a roof replacement. So that will be funded by a combination of the SCLO Library Foundation and a work in progress Hamer Foundation grant. Lisa worked through submitting our grant for that, so fingers crossed on that front. But as soon as that hopefully goes through, fingers crossed, we'll be seeing some of those improvements coming in 2026. And so that's really my hopefully quick-ish update. I didn't time myself, if I'm being honest, but I will be back in the early summer with a more in-depth update and deck like I did last year. So any questions?
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for the box. Oh, you got another one, okay. Item is not on the agenda, so.
Hello, I'm Kelly Anderson. My husband Kevin and I are residents of Boalsburg, and I'm speaking tonight to inquire about a renewed interest for the open space initiative for Harris Township. In an effort for my husband and I to learn more about the area and be active members of the community, we recently completed the classroom portion of the Master Naturalist course with Clearwater Conservancy offered at Shavers Creek. And in that course, they taught us about Patton and Half Moons Township open space initiatives and the successes that they've had. So this led me to research Harris Township, and I discovered the 2012 referendum that failed by a very small margin. And this actually gave me hope because I thought if it were to come to a vote again, it had a good success of passing. So as the board already knows, conservation is very important. I see it reflected in the town with the preservation of Stan Yoder and the funds that were contributed to preserve the Hess farm. And additionally, with the upcoming 322 expansion, I feel like this is a pretty important time to be proactive about how Harris Township wants to move forward in terms of conservation. I actually brought with me a document on open space referendums. And you can see that there's not many municipalities west of the Susquehanna that have open space plans. About 90% of them are in eastern PA in the Delaware River Basin. In Center County, only 3 townships have put this to a vote, with Harris Township being the only one that failed. But on page 9 of this document, we have 10 failed referendums that led to future successes. And this gives 10 examples of townships that did put it to the vote for the first time. And then maybe in 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, they put it to a vote a second time, and they passed, sometimes by pretty large margins, like over 70%. So I just wanted to speak here tonight to respectfully ask if you would consider an open space initiative for Harris Township to be put to a vote for a second time.
Most interesting, it's been 2012, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I have all the files and notebook on that project.
That's what I was saying. The majority of the legwork seems like it's been done. So.
The actual plan we did?
Yeah, I read the whole plan. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd give it to you.
Yeah. So that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Others? Okay. Township business, announcement of executive session. The supervisors held an executive session at 6:30 to talk about legal issues. And now we will go with the introduction of our new police chief.
Yeah, so our new State College Borough Police Chief, Joe Merrill's here to introduce himself and
Hello all. I appreciate the opportunity to come. I appreciated the invite. I'm not sure how much y'all know about me. It's been put out a little bit, but this is essentially a homecoming for me. I'm from the State College area, graduated State High, went to Penn State for my undergrad. Would eventually get my master's through the World Campus with Penn State, but only really moved away for my career at Altoona, which I did and retired from after 20 years, and the timing worked out and came back. I was lucky enough to have former Chief Gardner was able to stick around for the month of January to help with some of the transition, along with the command staff that's already, there. So, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. But I am excited to work with you folks. It was made clear to me that the relationship between the borough, specifically the police department, and you folks has been great over the years, and I don't see a reason why that shouldn't continue.
Did you get to work with Chief King?
I did. I have been collaborating with him in his new role as interim manager of Ferguson Township.
And police chief of Ferguson too.
Correct. Well, for a second there. Now, Assistant Chief Wilson retired from the State College Police Department and is now Chief Wilson there. So we already had kind of a good group working together, but now we have even more connections. And again, several of these people I knew growing up in my childhood. So I look forward to working with everyone, more of a collaborative approach.
Well, how many positions has Chief King had since he retired? I'm going to say at least 5 or 6 anyway.
Plus his regular consulting business. After he retired, he had a consulting business. So.
He's a busy man.
Yeah. Interesting. His father works for the honeybees, and his father was at our house twice treating honeybees.
It
And
became a hobby after retirement.
And he's doing quite well at it, and so indirectly we've known each other for quite a while.
It's great.
We are a wild township. It's going to keep your.
That's what I've been heard. I have to keep an eye on all of you.
Well, we won't test the department.
But again, even outside this meeting, make myself available if you want to coordinate. I'm free. Obviously, right now I'm, trying to get my feet underneath me, meeting all the different entities and learning the different everything not related to police work. But I certainly will make time if anyone needs a minute with me, and we can easily coordinate that.
We hope we don't need you professionally.
That's fair.
But we will, and we'll
Yeah.
welcome you when it comes to budget time.
Perfect.
I mean, clearly you must know about the article that came out in the Center.
Talking about the Spotlight article? Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been briefed on it.
I guess I wonder, what's happened has happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little disgusted about it because of what happened at Penn State. Because the same thing happened at Penn State years ago. There was an underreporting of sexual assault. And I'd like you to tell me how you all have handled it. What are we doing moving forward?
Certainly. So first of all, to speak to specifics, I would not be doing it justice because I wasn't here. I'm aware, and I'm sure you are aware, my 2 predecessors and the borough manager all collaborated, and I know those are all publicly available online to speak to more specifics. More generally, before I even got here, obviously I am aware of UCRs, how they are reported, and because the UCR is a federal list and the way the UCR is categorized, every state calls crimes something different. For example, a lot of people know what larceny is, but there's no larceny in the state of Pennsylvania. So occasionally the feds, specifically through the FBI, will say, this state, these are the crimes that you put over here in this bucket, these are the crimes you put over here in this bucket, and occasionally they change it. However, how things are classified for the UCR, I am more than familiar enough with the department now. I've seen it firsthand, and I can absolutely assure you that whether the federal government calls an incident a rape or a sexual assault, that doesn't matter to us how the federal government wants to count that and what bucket it goes in. Both incidents are investigated with the same vigor and seriousness. The same collaboration happens with both the victim advocates and the district attorney's office for prosecutorial decisions. So that is not changing and continues to move forward. And again, without getting into specifics, but it's my understanding, and I've seen documentation of it, that the actual data portion of it has been fixed since 2022, I believe.
Does it disturb you that 75 to 80% of sexual assaults or rapes are not reported?
So I don't believe that's accurate. They were reported.
According to the NIH.
They were. You mean talking about
In general.
for this UCR or overall?
No, overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, I mean, and I studied it at my time in Penn State, there are many factors that lead to rape victims not feeling comfortable to report things. And that's obviously not okay. And the department actually works and has several grants through the state to work with advocates and actually have advocates embedded into our police department, which I can tell you folks, coming from other police departments, a lot of police departments don't have. So that's a resource that State College, and they have had it for quite some time. I'm certainly not taking credit for it. My previous 2 predecessors made arrangements for that to happen. That's how important this topic was to them. And all I can tell you is that I continue to believe that to be a priority and would continue to do that.
Okay, and let me give you an example of something that happened. I'm wondering, like, a young police officer came to my place of business, which is Duffy's. We had a gentleman come in, and for whatever reason, he wanted his chicken wings. And I'm telling you, he was not taking no for an answer. Meanwhile, we had a fire in the kitchen, couldn't, got the fryer out, whatever. So he went after my very young hostess at the time, backed her into a corner with a finger in her face. I called the police. The police officer spoke to me and he said, well, there's nothing you can do about it. He did nothing to her. I'm like, wait a minute, yes, he did. You don't do that. You don't trap somebody like that. That's assault. And, you should be talking to her about this. And I'm wondering how much training that our younger police officers get in reference to this, whether it be a female, male, or whatever, in understanding this, because clearly I don't think he understood.
I can't
Exactly.
speak to that specific incident. I don't even know when it happened. When did you?
This was years ago, but still, do we get training?
Yes.
Are young police officers coming in?
Yes, they get training. They don't always get it right,
Continued
and without
training.
speaking or knowing the specifics of the incident, it'd be totally unfair for me to comment specific. But yes, as far as training, yes, there's training. Matter of fact, right now we're in our fourth week of in-service training, where every officer is being assigned to a week, covering all sorts of training topics, from everything from more hazmat and infectious disease control to issues like immigration to de-escalation to that. So yes, there is absolute continued training.
Okay, so you hit one question. I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
How is the department at this point instructed to handle animals? Animals that have been found acting weird on streets, animals that have been found, what is the instruction at this point?
I'll be honest with you, ma'am, that's such a vague question
Okay,
that I
let me
can't
just ask
begin
you.
to.
I was attacked by a rabid fox.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I captured the fox, put it in a crate.
Yes.
Okay, so the police officer came, and what did he do? There was no emergency, there was no issue. Shot the fox in the crate, created a hazmat problem right there. Then took the fox out, put it in a bag, put it in the police car, left the crate. Someone came in the middle of the night and stole the crate. So not only did he get, a whole slew of people got rabies, vaccinations at that point. I almost died from the incident. And then on top of it, nobody has had any instruction. So Rob Grabowski stepped in at that point and did issue instruction on how to deal with wild animals and these incidences that are going to happen in this area because we are close to nature. So I was wondering if this education is continuing. Is it included in what's going on?
I'll have to look into that for you, ma'am. I'm not trying to be coy or
No, that's
evasive
okay.
to you, but in the month that I've been here, I haven't looked into our rabid fox protocol. So, but
No,
I can gladly get you the information and
It's
look into it for you.
Because it was always our impression, like I talked to other people about it, that it was just, as soon as you said something about an animal, a police officer would come in with a gun. And if that was protocol, because apparently it was, I wanted to make sure that was really no longer protocol.
I can look into
Still.
it for you, ma'am. I'm not sure. When was this again?
We're venturing
was
off to the welcome
2000
orientation, Tracy.
2015.
I'd like to move.
2015?
Yeah, but that's.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That was my question, because the other one was about de-escalation and,
Mm-hmm.
citizens' rights, given what's going on now, and actually our residents' rights going on
Correct.
now. So you hit that one. So I was just wondering about that training.
Yes.
So there's two trainings.
The two of you can work on solving that. We're
No, that's
moving
okay.
off-
He answered it.
We're
I'm
moving
fine.
off the welcome intent of our greeting you, so thank you.
Again, if there's any further questions, please feel free to coordinate with the manager, and I'll gladly schedule time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hope you all have a good night.
And the guys behind you are the fire people, so you'll be working with them too.
Sounds good.
Oh, geez.
Okay,
They look like a rough crew.
where's Van? Okay, Van, bring your gentleman up. And we have the report too for you.
Yes, we do.
A distinguished looking group.
At least they got long pants.
They just left.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us tonight. I'm Van Winter, I'm Chief of Bollesburg Fire Company. I'll have the officers introduce themselves as they get down the line here.
Nate Fry, First Assistant Chief.
Eric Ayers, Second Assistant.
Greg Alders, Third Assistant. Paul Robinson, Safety Officer. Sean Wolf, Fire Police Captain.
Austin Owens was elected 4th Assistant. He works at the 911 center, but he's also running ambulance tonight. He was on an ambulance call at the time we were getting to come in here, so he says, I'm not sure I'm going to make it. I'm going to try to make it there just in case. So he was actually going to bring the ambulance, I think, here in the crew. They was going to come in to be introduced, but you will run into, I'm sure, periodically through stuff like that. So I provide everybody with a report from last year. As you see, we had a significant increase in calls over the years, and especially all the calls went in Harris Township. Our mutual aid calls went down. Our College Township calls went down, but we increased by 67 calls in Harris Township alone, which is a huge astronomical increase. There is no specific reason like we had in 2016-17 where we had all the horizontal winds that created one giant amount of calls for us. All the calls increased accordingly with everything. I mean, it was just everything increased. Automatic alarms, chief calls, crashes, everything just increased a few each time. So that brought the call volume up. No explanation, absolutely no reason why. There's nothing, hardly any that's weather related. We had a few, I think we had 4 or 5 tree downs that we had cut up for on the state roads and stuff like this. But again, that's not really out of the overly ordinary than what we normally do. So answer any questions you have on what you saw here, what paperwork I gave you.
How much of an increase would you say would be normal? Because, yeah, like the up 67 to 149, that's like over.
We ran about 181 calls the previous year. We were 176 the year before. We were 190 maybe the year before that, and then we were at 219. It just varies. There's just a hit and miss on it, but we generally run in the area between like 175 and about 190 is what we were recently, with some spikes like this past year. The year we had the storms, the horizontal winds, we picked up 26 calls in a 24-hour period. That threw the spike up into there. There isn't anything defined, a weather-related incident or anything that really defined us. And it isn't like we were running a lot of public services to fill swimming pools and pulling incident numbers that way, because we don't do that. I mean, it's just an increase.
You see any kind of uptick on special event weekends? Football, no. The art festival?
No, knock wood, please. With all the football games that we have very few crashes that we deal with. We have very few incidents in that with the amount of traffic goes through on 322 and even Bull Avenue here. The events at Tussey Mountain are quiet. State College Police takes care of the traffic down at the intersection at night when everyone's leaving. So we really aren't seeing a whole ton of incidents there.
Automatic alarms, that's the one I always look at. And I know some of them obviously are false. You get there and there's nothing. Are we able to charge for that? Are you able to charge for it? And if you do you get the money back, or do you have to change
we do not directly charge for that, but through the Center Region there is an alarm policy. It was written 2 years ago. So every automatic alarm that goes through that is a true false alarm, pertinent to the alarm having an issue or something like that, I have to file a report to the Center Region called office, and they keep log and track of that. After so many incidents and stuff like that, they start fining them accordingly. Those fines then, a percentage of those fines are turned over to the Bollesburg Fire Company.
Did you say Center Region Code?
Center Region Code Office, yeah.
And they get to keep the rest of it?
They take some for their efforts or something like that. It's not much. We're getting the majority of it, so.
I'm not public safety.
But I mean, they're doing the follow-ups and making sure that the alarms were taken care of afterwards. So if that alarm and it was due to a bad detector, it's one thing. But if you have an alarm and it's consistently being done by the same bad detector, or same child's pulling the alarm, and we're going to mutual times, multiple times that way, you're going to end up getting, they're going to end up getting fined out of it, especially.
Are you a 501c3?
Yeah.
It triggers an interesting thought. I see on your goals some new radios. The county commissioners just allocated $1 million plus for radios.
Yeah.
Did that come out of a state grant somewhere?
It come out of the state somewhere, or I think it was a federal. I think it was a federal grant. Yeah.
If in fact you're a 501c3,
you should qualify for use of the hotel tax?
You're talking Greek to me. Maybe possibly so.
I was told that fire departments didn't qualify because you were not 501c3s.
Yeah, we are, since 20.
It is, 'cause I donate to you.
Yeah.
The hotel tax does
yes,
not
it might
pay for
Hotel tax pays for a lot of
projects and advertising.
Well, it pays for all kinds of things. And I was told that it can only go to 501c3s.
I can look into it and see where
And
we're
I would
at.
think that you should have a discussion with the commissioners, you and the other departments in the county, the 19 departments, that begin using some of that hotel tax money to support you people.
It's a thought process I can bring.
It's an extremely valid request compared to some of the other things that are being funded with 501c hotel money.
The quote $1 million that was to the commissioners is probably, in reality, probably about 20% of the monies that's needed to complete the radio upgrades for everybody in the emergency services, including police.
The
So you're
hotel
talking
tax
$5
money is
million.
going up every year. About $2 million this year undistributed, so.
That would work.
I would encourage you and the chiefs from across the county to get together and talk to the commissioners as to why you don't.
Be meeting
You
on.
may not get 350,000 for radios, but you qualify for something.
There's a meeting on the 19th of March in Snowshoe, and we
Of
always
the
have a
of the
commissioner.
chiefs?
We always have a commissioner show up at our meetings. So yeah, that can be brought up to them at that point in time.
Invite John Fanek or one of the commissioners and put it on the table and see what's going on.
Can do that.
Everyone that stays in motels paying for it, and you're the ones that are protecting the people that stay in the motels, so it's an interesting circle.
Or just clean their floors after last night with the broken sprinkler pipe. So yeah.
Oh, geez. I'm gonna talk about broken sprinklers.
Other questions of this group?
Keep doing a good job, guys.
Yep. Anyone want to raise a question with the group? Not often you get all 5 chiefs here, 4 chiefs and traffic safety.
3 chiefs and 8. Oh.
Yeah. I do have one thing to bring up. After the last snowstorm, we went out, as we always do every year. We try to go out and check hydrants, get hydrants cleared up, so we can actually go out and do that. 3 different groups went out in different vehicles. We did Harris Township, and we did our first 2 College Township coverage area. I think we probably did not shovel more than about 40 hydrants out of all the hydrants that are in the College Township, Scenery Drive, the whole way down to all of Harris Township. On behalf of the fire company, we want to thank all the residents, all the HOAs and everyone like that for going out and shoveling those hydrants, because plowing as much snow as we had, they were filling in, and the residents went out and really stepped forward, and they've done it for years. But this is a good time to really thank all the residents for doing that, because as we traveled through, you drive up to them and we didn't have to do anything. The residents took care of it for us. There's some we had to do in some developments, but very few hydrants that we had to deal with, and which is great, that we could actually better access to get in to see them. So on behalf of the fire company, I want to thank all the residents and, like I said, all the HOAs and stuff like that went out and stepped up for us.
That's a good activity for the new members of the fire department to go get oriented to the snow shovel.
Some of us old members do it too, yeah. So.
Any questions of the group? Thanks, guys.
Yep, thank you very much.
Good job. Okay. Aiken's Cabin Property Site Plan. Mark and Todd?
On November 6th of last year, staff received from Pentair Engineering a site plan for the Aiken's Cabins property adjacent to Bear Meadows Road between the Tussey Mountain Ski Area and the State Forest. The site plan is a required precursor to a change in use zoning permit application, since the property is located within the natural area zoning district. Mr. Aikens wishes to change the use of the property from recreational cabins to campground. 2 reviews of the site plan were completed, the second of which was included with the agenda, as well as a copy of the site plan. Additionally, on the board behind you is a copy of the site plan. 2 signatures remain to be applied to the site plan, which can be done in a timely fashion. Once the site plan is reviewed by the Board of Supervisors, staff can complete the approval process and entertain the zoning permit application for change in use. Staff's recommendation is to move to approve the Aikens Cabin Property Site Plan contingent upon satisfactory completion of the review comments from the January 6, 2026 letter of the zoning officer.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that so we can discuss it.
Library, got a second on that one?
Yep. Nigel.
Okay. Questions?
I don't have a question. Well, I guess it's a question. The one thing that I looked at, and I know we just did this new, our zoning up there with the natural areas, but somebody, again, tell me about the stores part. You know, I know he says a building here, office building, but, you know, he can only have stuff there.
That's this one?
Yeah, he can only have stuff there that his campers can use, correct? So the reason I ask it, it's right along the road. He's got it situated right along the road for a pull-in from the trail. I don't want, I mean, the purpose of that was for them to have a general store for campers. So how do we,
We, at this time, we're on the same page.
okay, that was my concern when I looked at it.
What kind of sewage system do they have on the cabins?
It's on-lot septic.
There's a field for every one of those cabins, or a field for one major one?
There's a, I don't know if it's shown on here, I think it might be on his neighboring property. There's actually a system that was designed when the cabins went in. I think Chuck Kerr was our sewage enforcement officer at the time. And from what I was told, it was sort of over-designed for what the 5 cabins was going to use. But if he proposes any future development, that will have to be revisited to make sure that either that system is big enough for what he proposes, or it's improved to accommodate that.
It could be built off of his property, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it's off the property, and there's, I'm sure, an easement around it to ensure the use.
There's an easement right here. It's a sanitary easement.
Questions of, they really aren't changing anything that's on this plan.
No, they're not proposing any development at all at this time. As you're aware that you approved the subdivision plan last year to add a little bit of acreage to make this 10 acres.
Yeah.
So Randy could come into compliance with the campground regulations. Not to say that he won't have something planned down the line, but his immediate plans don't include any expansion or any addition.
What was that 10 acres at?
Oh, geez.
Which one of the 4 sides?
Oh, I don't remember.
Was it,
Yeah, it was down in that area.
down in this area somewhere? It was just a small amount.
piece,
Yeah, very small.
It was 9 point something that we had added.
You just had to go over the top, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I remember that.
okay. Questions of staff? If you have a motion, entertain a second, you have that?
Yep.
Just further discussion. Not hearing any, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Good enough. Okay, item E, Mark.
Again.
Oh,
Get me out of everything.
I'm sorry, Todd.
It's the Kaiser Property Sewage Facilities Planning Module. Staff is currently reviewing a site plan for the Kaiser property at 390 Misty Hill Drive that proposes the construction of a house with an attached guest house. The site plan is required since wetlands were identified on the property and the structures are proposed to be built within 100 feet of such. As part of the process, the owners had to identify additional on-lot septic areas for the additional dwelling unit. As a result, a sewage facilities planning module is required. CRPA has conducted their reviews and has provided their required paperwork. A copy of Resolution 2606 is included with the agenda. In the coming months, if it's not next month, it'll probably be in April. You'll probably see the site plan or something more along these lines. At this point, it's just the planning module. The recommendation is to move to approve resolution number 2606, adopting the Kaiser Property Sewage Facilities Planning Module as a revision to the Harris Township Act 537 plan.
Entertain a motion.
I guess I'm making the motion again.
I can make it if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
Chris is going to do a second. so.
I move to approve Resolution 2606, adopting the Kaiser Property Sewage Facilities Planning Module as a revision to the Harris Township Act 537 plan.
Second.
Second, we have a primary and a second, we have a discussion. Not hearing any, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay, proposed ordinance 383, amending the township composition of the planning commission. Mark, this time.
Oh, wait, Mr. Chairman, before we start that, I move to approve ordinance number 383, amending the composition of the planning commission to include up to 3 alternate members.
Second.
Got a second.
Probably second discussion. Not hearing any, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. We're going through the pink colors here. Okay. What do we have now?
What are we looking at?
Okay. G.
So this is a draft intergovernmental relationship agreement between the Center Regional Parks and Recreation Authority, Center Region Parks and Recreation Agency, the Center Region Council of Governments, and the Center Region Municipalities. So at the December 17th, 2025 meeting, the Parks and Recreation Governance Special Committee forwarded this draft intergovernmental relationship to the municipalities for review and comment. We did provide a copy of this to our solicitor as well for them to review and see if they have any comments. And I did include in your packet comments from both myself as well as from our solicitor for your consideration. The committee requested that all municipal comments be provided to the Parks Director by March 18th, 2026. So tonight, I'm looking to see if you can provide those consensus comments to me, and if you need additional time, you certainly could talk about it again at your March meeting.
Who represents us on that?
That's me.
Is that you, Chris?
Yep.
Any thoughts?
My only problem is the MOU is being worked on and finished right now, and I don't understand why the MOU is not being worked in conjunction with this. It doesn't make any sense to me that this is being presented without the MOU.
Is that in construction?
I don't know. That would
Yeah,
be
we worked
some.
on that in the last meeting. In
Yeah.
fact, it was worked on in December, and then I read all through it before the last meeting, and when I went to the last meeting, I posed my questions and comments on that. So why that isn't in here, why isn't it included with this, doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I have not seen a copy of the MOU. Nothing was forwarded to the municipalities to help work on defining that, or.
You can see it on the, I got the email with it's on there.
My understanding, though, is that these MOUs were going to be individual for each
But
municipality.
the problem that you have as individual with each municipality is that it's an agreement with each individual municipality, and it's subject to alteration
Sure.
by the municipality. But the problem that I have is if the COG is not agreeing on any changes in the MOU with the individual municipalities, when is that going to come off balance? When is, you know, and that's like my biggest problem. If you change an MOU with one township, all townships should have to agree with it. It doesn't make any sense otherwise, in my personal opinion. And that's the only problem I have with the MOU, besides the fact that, now I don't have to do my committee report, besides the fact that it's
good.
not specific with who is taking care of like any invasive species, any real issues within a municipal park. There's no delineation between what's what, really. So, but yeah, I don't know why this isn't being presented along with this.
My point about it being with each individual municipality was I don't know if they've reached out to any other municipalities to start talking about the contents of the MOU and what their expectations would be so that it could go back to the governance committee. I just haven't heard anything about it, so.
Maybe I should have printed it out and brought it.
Well, I'm curious though, like, is the committee, I don't know if they've talked about holding up the agreement until those MOUs are done.
No.
No?
I don't know.
Okay.
This is not, it seemed like this was like a little bit over my head, like this was not what we were reviewing, and this, like, this is, it seems like this is more authority rather than, you know what I mean?
Right.
Rather than governance, or, you know, so it seemed to be a little bit above where I was working. So
Sure.
I was working on the little township level. This seems like the COG level, you know?
The complexity of this whole document, to me, clarifies why it's so complex.
I think it's,
It is.
I don't know if it's complex.
It's a twisting of words and relationship between the three of us that make it very difficult to understand what's going on.
Well, this draft is cleaner than the last one, in my opinion. However, I still look at, if I look at it from the agency standpoint, the agency has the authority as their boss. They have the Center Region Council of Governments, they have the municipalities, and they have staff. But the way it's written, it can come from all directions, which at the end of the day, the agency can say, you know what, we'll do it our way, and say these guys, we like their version, we don't like their version, we'll do it this way. I think that I would like to see something in there that there's a clear path of who the agency reports to. It's okay for the authority to do the policy and all that. It's okay for municipalities, because we got to fund it to have our input. But there needs to be one group that the agency has to answer to, and that could be the COG director. I don't care, but it just seems like that the agency can go in whatever direction they like the best, and there's no, if they go in this direction and it's contrary to what this group said, what's the recourse? I think there really needs to be, this is such an ambiguous chain of command.
That's the issue.
It's just all around. We need to have, put a chart in there of a hierarchy. Here's what this does, and have in there, just like you do an organizational chart. Here's the guy that's in charge of everything. These guys do policy. This guy does whatever. Have it in there, and whoever the agency has to answer to. If it's a financial thing, they got to go to the COG or municipalities or whatever. If it's a policy, they go here. I think we need to have that a little bit better, a little more clarity than what I saw here. And your statement, your first statement, kind of says it. When I read what you said, it kind of says what I'm thinking. It's just like, it's better, but it's still kind of foggy. There's not really a. It's like, here it is, and now we can do whatever we want, so to speak.
The definitions are sort of intertwined between
exactly
who does what to whom.
So in answer, there's nothing in this agreement. It says that we are the financial thing, but there's nothing here that says we are required to give the finances. So, for example, we could say, okay, we don't like what you're doing, and we're going to cut off the finances. Now what do they do? So, there's no real direct path of, if there's something wrong here, or something's done wrong, or we need something adjusted, who do we go to?
Well, how much of that would be taken care of in like the MOU portion of it? I see that being kind of like these work together, right? This outlines that there will be.
Well, the majority of the MOU is going to take care of the maintenance. That's where the majority of it. It's going to be the maintenance part of the thing. Who does what in the maintenance?
Yeah.
And that's one part of this. It's not the whole thing.
Yeah. But I mean, like that being kind of like the one part that's kind of like an on the ground thing. I think is taken care of. I see what you're saying too, where like who does the agency report to?
Right. Well, here's the thing, and I know Bruce and I talked about it when he was over there. One of the things that I know he's been talking to them about is we've asked for a number of years, and we've gotten kind of a little bit of it, but we haven't got the final. You have all these programs. Which ones make money? Which ones don't make money? Which ones are worthwhile? Which ones should we be subsidizing? Which ones shouldn't we be subsidizing? And that's kind of done through the authority and through the agency. I think there's got to be some clarity there, and that's what I'm saying. We need one hierarchy that works for all of it. I think that's what this is missing in my opinion.
And this also is missing. I mean, if we as a township have a question about exactly that, we've asked how many years now, how many times now. This is not something that is difficult in my book. Figure out who's signing up for a class or this or that. How many people do you have in the class? Which ones are in the municipalities? Which ones are outside? How much are people paying for the classes? You should be able to know that very, very quickly. And the entire time I've been here, which has been, 2 years now, we have not had a response or even a thought in reference to that. That is unacceptable. It is absolutely unacceptable when a municipality asks that kind of a question. It's not acceptable. We should, there's not even, we're working on it, we're this. Well, how hard could it possibly be? So I think that's the other thing is like, if they're hiding that or they're not doing that, what else is going on and who is answering to whom? That bothers me a little bit.
I've advocated for years now that the park authority should be a park authority, like the sewer authority, the water authority, and the recycling authority, a freestanding authority that we contribute money to.
I agree with that, 100%.
And every time I bring that up, can't do that. Can't do it because it's too complex. What we have now is a complexity of 3 organizations attempting to run one program.
All right, exactly.
That's the confusing part of it.
Yeah. And I agree with what you just said. Make them a full authority. We give them so much. We don't sit there and have to look at their budget every year and say, well, we've got to figure a way to fund your everything you want to do. No, here's how much we're going to give you. Let them figure out how to fund it.
Yeah.
That's their job. And they have programs out there. Yeah, they don't need to be a for-profit, but there are programs that are going to get money back and some that they won't. And they need to make that decision. We shouldn't have to do it at the college.
As an authority, just like the water authority, don't they dictate, isn't there more dictating to us about what money we're supposed to be giving them?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No. What basically, when you do an authority, the only thing, authorities are autonomous. All authorities are autonomous. We don't have any say over them. The only say we have over whether it's water, sewer, whatever, is we get to put people on their board.
Yeah.
That's it. And
So-
so when our guys come in here, Matt Almond and those guys, and they tell us what's going on at UAJA, we instruct them what we want them to do. So that's
But
what.
they don't have to do that.
Nope.
But the
But
thing
we
is,
still
is we
control the
have-
purse strings.
Yeah, but we don't necessarily, it seems to me that there's almost more control of the purse strings right now, having them in the cog, than if you make them an authority, and all of a sudden now they're dictating to you what money they need, and that's the end of it. It's kind of like the water authority decided that they want more money out of the township, then they want to raise the rates of their water. So we argued about that. So what's to say that an authority for rec and parks isn't gonna be the same thing? So instead of having more control over perhaps the amount of money the township has to give to them, we have less control over the amount of money the township has to give to them. So, I guess that's my question. Like, I don't think it gives us any more control. I think it gives us less control.
Well, under authority operation, residents pay for the service.
Yeah.
Water and sewer.
They pay for the services now.
This uses the word authority, but it's not operating in
No,
that
it's
kind
not.
of model.
Well, I mean, the authority does collect fees on the programs that they run.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, and what I think what we're both saying is, you go to a budget meeting and we're talking park and rec, they come to us literally with a Christmas list. Here's everything we want to do, and we want you to fund it. And we've cut back on that the last couple of years and tried to get it under control. But at the same time, we should be saying, okay, we're going to give you this much money. Then let them decide what their fees are. That's why we're asking for, on the fees, how much do you charge for this program? How many kids sign up for it? We have programs out there that there's only 2 or 3 kids show up, and we have to pay
How
the
do you
staff
know
member.
that?
I've seen the report.
Well, I think they cancel those programs generally if
They
there's.
don't always. We
Yeah.
still have circus skills going.
I
But
can
how do you know if
tell
that
you from
person-
experience from trying to sign up for some of the programs, there's programs that fill up. If the sign up
quickly.
starts at 8 o'clock, at 8:04, it's full.
And that's
Yeah.
been my point.
Yeah.
To take the programs that that have waiting lists, put more resources to them, and get rid of the ones that we don't have waiting
Yeah.
lists that are just a couple people here and there. They're not all those programs. If you look how many programs they have at Park and Rec, there's a ton of them. Look at the guide. Just go through the guide when it comes in the mail. There's a ton of them.
Tracy?
I said my piece. If you know how many people go into these programs, I certainly haven't seen anything that's telling me how many people are signing up for these programs or for any stretch, for any bit. But I mean, like, that's really what we've been asking anyway, and we still don't have that information. I think there's a lot of information we could have. I don't think it's as easy as Frank says. Like, we tell them how much we're going to give them. I haven't seen that happen yet. Like, I think that we work as a cog, and the cog tells them how much we're going to give them, and we have a little bit of say, but not as much say as we think we have. And I don't think that we're going to have any more say if it's an authority.
Well, do you need anything else from us?
I was gonna.
Well, I mean, I have a number of
Good idea.
comments, I have a number of comments written down here that I can try to put together in a letter or an email to the Parks Director. I'm not sure what the next steps are after she receives.
You said that to the director or to the authority?
It was the directions were to send it to the Parks Director by March 18th.
I would copy Ben.
So, yeah, I definitely will. But that's who I was gonna send it to based on the email that was sent out with the agreement. So,
You want to put a draft together and send it to us?
I certainly
to
can
make sure
before I send it to him. We have
you're reflecting what we're talking
plenty of
about?
time to do that, so I can do that, sure.
Okay.
And if we don't hit the March deadline, I don't think this is,
We should be able to hit it just fine unless there's,
Okay.
concerns about what I prepare,
Okay.
I think.
other comments? Okay. Let's move to the draft Memorial Bridge program item we talked about.
Last year, the township was contacted by an individual representing the family of the late Robert Moore with a request that the bridge over Blue Spring be designated as a memorial bridge in his honor. Mr. Moore was a veteran of World War II and the Vietnam War, and he was also a local business owner and Main Street resident. So I had shared this request with the board back last summer and was given some direction to put something together, specifically focusing around veterans, as I recall. And what I did is I did some research. There's not really other municipalities in the state of Pennsylvania that are doing this. The state itself will designate bridges in honor of veterans and roadways and whatnot, but that's normally a legislative action. But trying to piece together what I found in other states and whatnot, I put together this draft ordinance for you to review and give me some feedback on. There's absolutely no rush on this. The family does continue to reach out occasionally and ask, where things stand, and I've told them that, the board is going to be talking about it soon. So what I'm asking for tonight is just feedback on this ordinance, and if you're interested in having me move forward with updating it and providing anything different in here, or if you have any questions for me.
Tracy? You had voiced in the exec session, so.
I still would like to see, I just don't want this just to be veterans. I think it should be anybody who has given to the township or has done wonderful things for the township. I think it should be open to both veterans and people who have done a lot of work for the township. That's all.
I like my idea of doing some
I
kind
like
of
that too.
a memorial plaque
I like that too.
with some kind of criteria that we work on and has to meet, these kind of issues. I think that's a lot easier than attempting to do a bridge.
I agree. I totally agree. That way we can recognize more people, first of all, and then.
That can be military and others.
Yep,
It could be firemen, there are a lot of firemen that do
Yeah.
extraordinary things,
I think so too.
yeah.
Okay.
And supervisors that do extraordinary
Oh, yeah.
things. once in a
Oh,
while.
yeah.
I'm looking for the Frank Hard Memorial Bridge. Now, as the veteran representative here, to answer Mark's original question, I read this ordinance you did. I think it's great. I think it does do black and white. Now, whether we add, subtract, or multiply or divide from it, I don't know that. That's something we can talk about going forward. But I think the footprint, or what you have here, is a good starting point as far as how we identify, how you go about doing it. I thought all that was good, what your eligibility is. Yeah, we may need to add other things. But yeah, there are, I've seen them in places, and if you think about it, where's it at, the old sign thing we did for the 150th? It used to be, it's sitting right there right beside Doreen.
Oh, okay.
We did that for the 125th, 150th, whatever it was. But that, something like that, we do Memorial Day, and we have, the ladies down there, maybe we put a board up with little names of veterans from the township, because I think if I'm not mistaken, you probably know this better than me, I think it was World War II. There were like 3 or 4 families here and I think there was like 18 or 19 people that went to war out of those 3 or 4 families. And like I said, I think you probably know that better than I do. My wife's told me several times, but, so we have a lot of veterans in Harris Township, and we've had a lot of veterans over the years. And being the birthplace of Memorial Day, I think having, maybe it's a plaque, you know, maybe it's a nice, maybe stone thing that their names go on or whatever. But yeah, I don't see a problem with that. And this memorial thing, maybe it's something we should have. And if we expand it to, you know, citizens or you know, outstanding citizens of our community, I have no problem with that. But I do think that that's maybe something we should look for, but I think this is a good starting point.
Nigel, thoughts?
Pretty much covered. I mean, I agree that it shouldn't necessarily be limited to veterans, but any township resident that's made a significant contribution could have something dedicated, you know, to them. But I don't know how many bridges do we have.
We could build some.
Yeah, build some more bridges so we can, you know, make memorials.
Russ?
Yeah, I guess my only concern is like once we really start to open things up, and I'm not against any of this at all, I'm for it, but you know, kind of having to make that judgment call on the criteria of who has given what amount of service and like what's the bar to clear, because I think that bar to clear can't necessarily be black and white. That's going to always have to be a judgment call, I think, based on what's inside the ordinance. But you know, I'm all about recognizing people, veterans, you know, people that have given a lot to the township. I think it's
Could we give Mark the assignment of greater investigation with respect to recognizing individuals?
But does an ordinance need to be passed to do a memorial bridge, or?
So the research I did into this, it recommended that is the route you go, and then
So
you
there's
actually
an official...
have a resolution then that you would pass to actually designate a bridge related back to the ordinance itself. It just kind of enshrines the policy as more than just
up, so it's not a willy-nilly.
It's an actual ordinance. That way, it's not just subjective that people could change it without actually following through with the ordinance itself.
What happens if we run out of bridges?
We built some.
Well, we have a limited number of bridges.
But do we need
West
just have to be
Main?
bridges?
Maine?
Oh,
East Maine?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be bridges. I mean, like
The
there's...
Pike?
Yeah, I think probably 6 or 7. Smith Road, there's a little one. There's...
Oh.
I know, it's not big.
You're scratching when you start using
Well,
the word.
even Blue Spring, in some ways, I don't know that folks necessarily know that there's. I mean, you obviously can see the spring there, but it's not a bridge where you have water on both sides. In that sense, where it's a pipe you're driving over
I
essentially.
think a plaque would give greater visibility in a single location.
And maybe what this ordinance doesn't necessarily need as much as it's got. Maybe it just needs to be the criteria to be considered. And if you're considered, put in there that to enact it, the supervisors have to pass a resolution. And then we could discuss it and do a resolution.
You
So
have
that
a
then
assignment?
I do.
Sometime finish it in 2026.
Okay.
And remember, when you're writing it, think about the Frank Hardin Memorial Bridge or something,
That's something that just fell down.
Oh, shit. Oh, excuse me, I can't say that.
Oh,
Okay.
he said that before I did? Yeah, I didn't even do that at all, ever.
Okay, page 4, the Allegheny Strategy Partners proposal.
Over the past year, the Center Region Municipal Managers have been meeting with Allegheny Strategy Partners, also known as ASP, I'll refer to it as that moving forward, to discuss the potential development of legislative and policy proposals aimed at recovering municipal costs associated with high-volume visitation to the area. The board was provided with a brief overview of this proposal back at your January 28th meeting. ASP is proposing a 6-month work plan to develop a regional local government revenue innovation and sustainability plan. So this would be largely a data collection, stakeholder engagement type of a plan, and then ultimately that plan would have a legislative and regional policy framework at its conclusion. The idea would be as if after this plan is put together and ASP goes out and sort of engages with stakeholders and whatnot, we would know whether or not there's an interest in trying to move forward in 2027 to approach the legislature about requesting perhaps some type of targeted legislation for our area reflected on the data that's been collected about how we're impacted by the high level of visitation. So this came about in part, the borough manager invited me to participate in these meetings and the other municipal managers as well. I think as the board is well aware, as a municipality in the state of Pennsylvania, second-class township, and most other municipalities as well, whether they're under second-class township or borough enabling legislation, we're very limited in how we can generate revenue as a municipality. So right now, the only real way for us to generate revenue to balance our budget when we see increases is property taxes. So the idea behind this was, are there other things that we could get support from the legislature on to be able to kind of broaden the number of tools we have at our disposal, so we're not always having to go back to property owners and say, we had to raise taxes again. This is the only option we have. Because earned income tax, we're already at the maximum we can do. Local services tax, same situation. And real estate transfer tax is whenever people sell property. And those are really our four streams of revenue. And earned income tax and property taxes are really the two big ones. So it's a proposed multi-municipal effort with 4 other center region municipalities. They all still need to discuss this as well, so I don't know where they stand on this and whether or not they're going to be interested in participating. If all 5 were to participate, the township's financial commitment for the 6-month effort would be $1,200. The total cost is $30,000. So we're 4% of that total is what was proposed. I'll point out that this is something that they were proposing to start in April, so you don't have to make a decision tonight. If you need more information, I spoke with Mike Negra last Friday. He's the representative from Allegheny Strategy Partners, and he was here probably 2 years ago or so, related to the gymnastics facility that wanted to go out on Discovery Drive. So you've met Mike before. You know, if you have questions, I can certainly get in touch with him. He also offered that if any of you wanted to speak to him directly, he'd be happy to answer questions. I'd also point out that in my recommendation here, that if you're interested to move forward, you probably don't need to make a motion to authorize me to enter into an agreement. I forgot that we have not decided yet if it's going to be an MOU with the borough if this were to move forward. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't need to be that structured in terms of your motion if you were to decide to want to move forward. But really tonight I'm looking for feedback. If you're interested, if you need more information, or if you're not interested at all, and just that way I can follow up with the other managers and let them know what was discussed.
Is the drink tax for State College driving this?
I think that was something that was discussed as part of this. I don't know that it's driving it. I think the idea is just putting together this plan and figuring out what might be viable.
There is no list of others that could be added?
There was others in here. There was a few other things that were listed in this proposal that were going to be investigated, and I think that's really the key here. That was it's on page 3 here, number 2 at the top. There's a few examples of things.
An expanded revenue policy option?
Right, and those are things that it says included but not limited to. I think the idea here is there could be other things that aren't being considered yet that could be. That's where this group would be trying to help identify those things based on the work they do with this plan.
Tracy, you're a business lady. What kind of impact would you like to see coming that would help us?
I already contacted the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association in reference to this, which is kind of really interesting because, of course, they knew Mike Negra. Mike Negra was my first, I think, PLCB rep.
I remember Mike from many years ago.
We bought the tavern. The biggest problem I have is anything that's alcohol related has not crossed the finish line, like in my lifetime. They can't get anything across because the PRLA and the Tavern Association, basically it's too much of a hot topic. The PRLA will push against anything that has to do with alcohol-related fees or taxes. The Tavern Association will do that too. You'll have hotel lodging, the hotel lobbying group pushing against that. So I don't know. With those, basically the first 3 things being, there's not a lot more listed for me to think that this is going to be worth it. In fact, if you want to go back recently, right after COVID, they wanted to keep the, what is it, the drinks to go. Drinks to go. That was the one thing. When all the restaurants were coming out of COVID and there were a lot of problems, a lot of people had a lot of financial issues, and all the restaurants wanted drinks to go to remain a part of, to be legal after the emergency ended.
Out of the business.
They sell like drinks that you can go like in like
A sealed container.
like drinks that you make inside. Yes, thank you, in a sealed container to go. So they tried to keep that, and what happened was it went. Wolf decided at the time he would sign a clean bill if it was just that. And the games that get played are Jake Corman would not let that clean bill go through. He added this and this and this to it, and Tom Wolf would not sign it. You know, he would not sign it, and so it went through again and again and again. It was pushed. You know, every time it hit, something was added to it, and they just dumped it. So finally, drinks to go, regardless of what the position was, with helping restaurants. You know, it didn't matter. Anything with alcohol legislation does not pass, like anything like that. So you're looking at this, and so alcohol-related things really don't pass. So I want to spend $1,200 on things that are going to, and then next, I look at it from a business point of view. Any alcohol-related fees on my business? You got to be kidding me. We are hit with tariffs. We are hit with, this is the worst time to run a restaurant that you could possibly imagine. You know, we are getting hit from every single way. So can I sustain an alcohol-related fee? No, I can't right now. Before COVID, could I ever sustain an alcohol-related fee? Maybe, but not now. And I think that if that's really what they're focusing on, or they're focusing on hotel and lodging taxes, when I don't even know what the hotels, how hotels are doing in general, I don't know. You know, do I think it's fair to impose a fee on that? No, I don't, until I see their financials, and I'm not going to sit here and regulate and tell them I'm going to do something like that when I haven't seen that. So no, I mean, I keep $1,200, no, I'm not for it. If that's what they're focusing on, if they're focusing on other things, maybe, but Mike Negris, more of his specialty is alcohol. So
Was the local police and radar use included in this? Because it's been on the table in Harrisburg for 15 years.
That wasn't, I don't recall specifically talking
that's
about, because that shouldn't be a revenue generating.
That's right. That's why it hasn't passed.
That's one of the, you're right.
Time, yeah.
That's not, it's supposed to be for enforcement of the law, not for generating money,
And
but.
they killed it because they were afraid municipalities would generate a certain percent over their budget
Right.
on speeders.
Yeah, and I would point out, Tracy, to your point about Mike, yes, his background is with the Liquor Control Board. You told me about that. I didn't know that. But there are other people that were involved in this. I don't know what their specialty are. One of them is Joe Scarnati, who was a member of the legislature for, I believe, 20-plus years. He's also part of ASP. So they have a broader team than just Mike. I'm not sure what all their specialties are, but I just wanted to make that clear that it's not just Mike that we would be working with.
But to your point, why isn't somebody basically lobbying for not adding new, but like you said, how often do we get a reassessment of homes? Are we supposed to be doing that every 10 years, or, you know, like I don't understand why are we not looking to bring something like that forward instead of adding new? You know, I guess I don't understand.
Well, with the county, the county is the government level that decides when to do a reassessment. But all a reassessment would do would reset millage rates to a lower rate, but you still would, as a municipality, only have the choice to tax property owners. A reassessment wouldn't give you the opportunity to have a different type of tax. So anytime you need to raise revenue.
But we would be able to, if we had more standard values, then we could.
Absolutely.
You'd have more taxing ability.
That's, to me, that would be a
Right.
better route to go than to have a tax targeted at a certain place. You know, I don't like that. You're targeting, it doesn't make sense to me.
I'd advocate a 10-year reassessment legislation across the board.
That's what I would
How
prefer
long
to
has
see.
it been since Center County reassessed?
1994, I believe. So it's
Yeah,
been
it's
been
absurd.
31 years, 32 years. Yeah.
Well, I think specifically with this, it's looking at the impacts from having a lot of visitors from out of town in. And I think that's kind of why it's separate from, like, it's as its own separate kind of revenue stream, being able to
I think
generate some money from the impact that we have from the travel related to the area.
I think the idea there is we are, as a region, impacted by travel. Obviously, 7 weekends a year, we double in population right in the center region. So when that happens, there's a greater demand on services, but who ends up paying for that are the people who live in the municipalities, because that's where the tax dollars are generated
So
from.
you're going to target, then, you're going to target individual businesses then and say, well, we're going to come after you for the money, even though my profit margin, which is like at 1% right now, if that, is not doing anything either here nor there. So if you're targeting, I just don't understand the targeting. That's my biggest problem.
Well, and when you look at funding, in the public sector, how do you charge for people coming in and using your services? That's always been a dilemma. It's always, is it too much, too little? As far as this thing and paying $1,200, I really don't think we need to do that. Because I sit there and I look at this, and the one thing that keeps popping in my mind every time I sit down is, how many vehicles do we have to execute this in Harris Township? Not many. I mean, they can pass all this, they can pass an alcohol tax, they can pass, how much are we gonna get from that unless we charge $10 a drink? We aren't gonna get anything from it. I mean, we'll get a little bit, but we're not gonna get anything. The only thing that I would rather see them work on is, and we're kind of one of the few in the township, is the EIT. We're locked at 0.5. It would be nice if they would change the law and give us a range there, so we don't have to keep raising property taxes every year, because we have a lot of revenue from income, and if we were able to go to even to 1% instead of 0.5, that's a big jump for us. And I would sooner push for that. You told me you're going to pay $1,200 to get that done, but since the other guys are home rule and they aren't locked at that 0.5, and with second class we are, well, they don't care about that. They aren't going to help us get that. So this is going to benefit State College. There's no doubt about it. This is a borough thing. The borough's going to college because of being there. But the rest of us are going to be like Oliver asking for another bowl of soup. Can we get a little more? Can we get a little more? I don't see us getting a lot out of this, no matter what they pass.
What would happen if we don't support this, but wait until the results come out and then support it?
I suppose that's an option. I don't know what the other potential partners in this are going to do, if they're going to move forward with or without us. I don't know how many of the other municipalities are going to, they're all going to need to talk about it as a board. They're individual governing bodies, so I don't know how they're all going to decide to go. So I don't know how many partners there will be at the end of it.
I'll give you 3 that will support it.
Half Moon?
Well, Half Moon's not involved, no.
The borough?
I mean, I agree that it would help the borough, it would help College Township probably, but
Patton.
it would help Hatton, but I don't know, you've got, 3 entities that serve alcohol, but then you're not hitting the other restaurants that don't serve alcohol, and then they're impacting, so you're targeting the ones that have alcohol, but not the ones that don't. I don't know, you're right, we won't get very much.
The casino itself in College is bringing in 1.5 mil a year.
It'll be a big
just
generator.
Because of the presence of the casino.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't.
We don't get that.
I don't disagree. If alcohol is the only thing this focuses on, we don't have a lot of that in the township. I don't know how much potential there would be with these other ideas of what they wanted to research. That was part of this, was researching. I know it came up during the discussion on short-term rentals, where folks seem to think we were getting local taxes on these, and we're not. That goes to the county.
This would be the vehicle for it,
right?
If in some way it passed in the future. I guess the other thing that I'm kind of concerned about is this is just like the first step, right? So after that, then
Correct.
It opens the door to, well, you paid for the first step.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the second step, which starts in end of September, like when they have the final deliverables. Then there's, well, this is what we found, so for the next step, now we need
Yeah.
contributions of this.
We just went through that.
Yes. We'll take step 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll join after the thing's done.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. What happens if they don't get across the finish line the first time? What happens if they, change it, then all of a sudden they go after it again? Like, yeah, how much is this gonna ultimately be?
I think those are good questions. I think at this point, all that was proposed was just putting together a plan and seeing what might be worth taking forward. And again, this would be a request for targeted legislation, not statewide pass a tax ability to do a tax on this or a fee on that. It would be probably for either just center region municipalities, maybe Center County. I guess it comes down to what they find as part of this plan.
Yeah.
After that, I think then it's up to all the partners of whether or not they want to move forward with doing anything more. It might come back where the plan shows that there's nothing that's really going to be viable.
University involved in this?
They're not.
That's because there's a different relationship between the county and the university.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on like what's the data worth, right? It's a possible avenue for some sort of revenue, but what is that data worth to us? Is it worth $1,200? I don't know.
I think that, I just don't see it. I don't see it benefiting us, no matter what comes out of it. I really don't.
Do you need some kind of formal action on rejection or study period, or what would you?
I don't think you need to make a motion to reject
Okay.
if you don't want. I mean, I felt there was general consensus enough
Okay.
that it doesn't seem like there's an interest in
sounds as
moving
though
forward at this point, from what I'm hearing.
That's strong affection.
Okay,
Okay.
that's
Okay, good.
clear enough to me.
Okay, the Spring Creek watershed. Mark?
Yes, so CNET is requesting that the township sponsor the coverage of 2 meetings of the Spring Creek Watershed Commission in 2026. Sponsorship of the commission meetings is shared among 7 CNET member organizations, which lessens the impact on any one member's annual dues. Harris Township last sponsored meetings of the commission in 2024, and the recommendation is that if the board's agreeable to the request, move to sponsor 2 Spring Creek Watershed Commission meetings on CNET in 2026.
So this would become part of our,
It'd be rolled into the formula for,
into our formula.
That has been, yeah.
yeah.
Why didn't we do this in 2025?
Because I think it goes on a rolling basis.
Oh, okay.
So,
2 years.
yeah, every 2 years you get asked to do it. And I got the request just recently here, probably since after the January meeting.
How much is it?
I don't know because it goes into our overall funding formula. It's based on the number of programs per year,
Oh,
and it's
okay,
like
I
on a
understand.
5-year
Yeah,
average,
I
I
understand.
believe, or 3-year average. I can't remember.
They-
It's a multi-year average of how
I
many
understand.
programs, so.
Yeah.
I think we pay for like 5.
yeah. Someone give me a
4
motion
or
if you
5.
would.
I'll make the motion that we sponsor 2 Spring Creek Watershed Commission meetings on CNET in 2026.
I'll take a second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Memorial Day funding request, the orange sheet.
The newly formed Bollesburg Village Historical Society recently requested a township allocation of $1,750 for 2026 events, $750 for Memorial Day service, and $1,000 for Bollesburg Hometown Christmas. The BVHS is also requesting that the township cover the cost of ambulance services for the Memorial Day event. The 2026 budget includes $4,750 for these events, formerly organized by the Bollesburg Village Conservancy. A copy of the BVHS's request is included in the agenda. So the board should discuss the request and determine if funding should be allocated to the Historical Society. As we discussed at your January 28th meeting, the board could choose to allocate a portion of the funding for Memorial Day at this time and then decide on Hometown Christmas funding at a later time.
I'll make a motion that we give this funding and do the whole 4,750 to the Bollesburg Village Historical Society.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Yeah, the only thing I will say is, with going and doing this, this board has always supported local events, whether it's Memorial Day, Day in Town, whatever, Christmas. So this funding goes to that program. It doesn't necessarily go to a group. It goes to the program. And if these are the people that are running Memorial Day, then they get the money. And I think that should be our policy going forward.
And that's different than what's being requested here with respect to the people that currently have the money.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
This is different than what is currently the status with respect to the organization that has a fairly good amount of money.
Yeah, in the past, you had been giving to the Conservancy, right, and they are no longer organizing the events, to my understanding. So, yes, that organization may have funding, but the Historical Society, I don't know where they're at financially, but nonetheless, they're asking for this because they are intending to do these events, and I know they've registered for these events already.
Does this simple request complicate things?
Does it?
Does this continue the uncertainty of the relationship of those two?
Well, I think that relationship is entirely up to those two organizations of how they're going to work together or not. I think in this case, if the board agrees to give the money to the Historical Society, it would be for the intention of them to do these events. If there's a disagreement over who's doing the events, that would have to really probably occur between those two groups if there's any disagreement. But to my understanding, the Conservancy did not indicate they were planning to organize either Hometown Christmas or Memorial Day. Maybe a portion of Hometown Christmas, and that was the only thing why I was suggesting you might want to just handle Memorial Day only at this time. But even there, I'm not sure that there's a dispute there.
I'm just very uncomfortable with this.
I'm not.
I support it, but I'm uncomfortable with the organization of who's doing what to whom.
I'm not at all.
Okay.
I've been assured by, like, in talking to them just locally, that they are well informed. Things have been legally researched properly. Things have been done properly as far as setting up the new Historical Society. The people who are involved are extremely upstanding. I am not uncomfortable with this at all.
Well, I can appreciate what Denny's saying, and I think that what I'm going to agree with it, but what Denny's saying is what we should be saying. Let's stay out of the weeds. We don't need to get in the weeds.
That's right.
We're not in the weeds.
We'll give the money to who's running the program, and then after that, we're out of it. Let them. That's their ballyhoo. Those organizations can do what they need to do.
We don't say anything at this time with respect to clarifying things for
Nope.
next year?
Nope,
It's not really our business.
nope.
to-
Whoever comes to us next year and
Yeah,
says they're running
it's
the
not our
events, that's who we
business.
give the money to.
What?
I just was going to suggest there are folks here from the public that might be here to speak on this, just in case they want to. I'm not saying they're going to, but you should make sure you offer that.
Oh, yeah.
There's someone online?
Yeah, Doreen back here as
You
well.
want to talk?
Doreen, do you want to say anything? Come on down. Oh. Since you sat here all evening, we ought to let you talk.
We need to get you on the mic over here for seeing it, so. Nobody joined us tonight, huh? Go ahead.
I'm Doreen Deal. I've been involved with the Memorial Day Committee for a long time. The reason that we have requested this is there was just several different things that we felt we needed to make the split. I guess basically what it comes down to, the Memorial Day Committee and the Hometown Christmas Committee have done all the work for these two events. And unfortunately, there's been some accusations and there's been some micromanaging of the funds that we raise. So we felt that based on several different things, we felt the need to make the split. It is the same Memorial Day Committee that has been involved with Memorial Day for years. Hometown Christmas Committee, we've got 3 new members now, and we just feel that we needed to make the split. And we are, as we move forward, as a new nonprofit, we intend to give back to community events. As Memorial Day, the old Memorial Day under the Conservancy, we always gave money toward the Scouts, we gave money to the fire company, and some other, maybe I don't know, we did something with maybe the military museum or something, but we've given back to the community, and as we move forward, we're going to continue to do that. I know that we are hoping to help support the flag project along 322 that the Lions are starting to maybe reinstitute, and So those are the kind of things that we're going to try to move forward with as the new community, or as a new nonprofit. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but we just felt over the last couple of years, we just needed to make that split this year. And so if you have any questions, I can
Sort of a
answer.
divorce of an annulment of a marriage.
Yes, we basically divorced the Conservancy. Yes. And like I said, it's the same Memorial Day committee that did Memorial Day last year. It's the same Memorial Day committee that's doing it this year. And basically what it comes down to, those two events were the cash cows for the Conservancy. And over the years, the Conservancy has not really done anything as a Conservancy. Okay, as a Conservancy, like they used to have a booth and sell their books and things like that, but they haven't really done anything. We've done it all.
Has the Conservancy accumulated cash?
They have all of our money that we brought in last year. We walked away with nothing.
Oh, that's interesting.
We walked away.
Is there any foreseen thought as to how to share that, or because
That's up to the Conservancy. That
doesn't make me happy either.
Right, that's up to the Conservancy, if they wanna share with us, sure, we'll be more than happy to take it. But that's a decision the Conservancy needs to make. They have to decide what they're gonna do with the money that we raised, so.
That's the weeds I wanna stay out of. That's the weeds I wanna stay out of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is the weeds,
Not our
yeah.
business.
I don't want to get
Right.
poison ivy on that one.
Yep.
Right, and it's unfortunate that it's come to this, but we felt we needed to make that change.
Is that your interpretation, Tracy?
What?
What you
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like I said, I don't have an issue with this at all. I'm very comfortable.
And had we, this year, had we stayed under the Conservancy, we probably would have been able to cover a good portion of the EMS cost. And that's what we intend to do as we move forward. But this year, we're
Okay.
trying to do what we can.
Do what you need to do to survive.
Right.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I am very happy to support this
Okay.
organization.
You do know more than I do, so that's why I depended
Ask if
on you.
anybody
Okay.
online- ask if anybody
Oh,
online-
and you had a motion?
No,
Right.
ask if anybody online needs to take those make comment.
Is there anybody
Yeah,
online?
there's people
There's
online.
multiple people online. I don't know if anybody's here to speak to it, but there are multiple people online.
Rayburn?
I don't see any hands up.
And no one has their hand up or
Make a
indicating they
motion.
want to
We made
speak.
the motion already.
There's no hands up though, really?
No.
Okay. Did you make a motion?
Yep, I made
Yeah,
it.
but-
She seconded it.
Further discussion? All in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Thank you. Let's see.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna make a motion to authorize the purchase of a striping machine for $5,454.
Second.
When I look at how much we're paying annually.
Yeah, this looks like a winner.
Can we play with it?
No.
I'm almost worried what might get painted. I don't know.
You want a basketball court in your driveway?
No, I just want to drive up down the street.
Well, it's not a drivable one. It's a push. It's not when you $5,400 for one to ride on would be incredible. But
Little
no,
do you
this
know, this is buying a lot of spray cans.
is a big old. It'll take a bucket and you can paint for hours on end.
Motion and second, further discussion. Not hearing any, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay.
And I make a motion, we approve resolution 2607, authorizing the destruction of specific township records.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Anybody want to save any of those for posterity?
I think we have to get rid of it, right?
You can't bring yours in. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Managers report.
Okay, I'm going to highlight just a few items here in my report, and then if there's any questions about others, you're certainly welcome to ask, and I'll do my best to answer them. The first one is number 2. Just as you can see in here, we found that our roof over our office building is in serious need of repair when there was some work being done up in the attic that we found there was daylight shining through, a soft underlayment. So it's going to need to be replaced. So we were going to look into either asphalt or metal. I figure it's probably worth at that same time looking at the roof that's over top of this part of the carriage shop as well as what's above us here as well and behind us right here. Yes. So at least looking at all of it to see either asphalt or metal. I don't know, what our prices will be, but I think it's worth looking at both.
Okay, I will tell you that you're better off if we do them all at once.
Yeah.
Because every time they come out, if we do that one, then we do this one, you're gonna pay for setup and tear down and
Staging
clean up
costs are
every
expensive.
time. So, let's do it all at once, even if we have to pay a little more this year to get it done. I think we're better off if we do it all at once.
Well, we had
And
set money
I would lean
aside.
towards metal. It's gonna last long.
We had set money aside for building repairs. This just wasn't the building repairs I had in mind.
Just make sure
So,
that if the guys that are doing metal,
yeah.
we want the roof sheeted and felt. We don't want the strips because you'll have noise. And I talked to a metals guy years ago, said the only way you can keep a metal roof from leaking is to sheet it, felt it, just like you would a regular roof. Don't
Okay.
put the metal down. But metal is probably your better bet.
I'm sure we'll have quotes on both.
Yes.
While we're up on the roof, would there be any possibility of putting solar panels on?
I don't think it's part of this project given the cost, but
It's,
The thing is, while they're up there.
it's the first step to do it because maybe new roof.
Well, I can speak to my experience, like, prior to this year, you would get a pretty hefty discount on the roof if you put panels up, but that opportunity has gone.
Yeah.
It has, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't think there's anything to gain by putting them up now. I could see it being something you might want to look into in the future.
Talk to the Divinity people.
Yeah, I can talk. I can speak to Invinity about it. Certainly, I think.
Good
I guess
company.
partially, Nigel, my concern is I want to get a roof over the building before we have any serious problems.
Yeah.
So just trying to tie
You
those
have
two
to-
things
you have to
together.
have- You have to have the good roof first before
I
you
don't
put a
wanna
panel
slow
on.
down.
I know you have to have the
Yeah.
good roof, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is usually a different company, but I'm
Right.
saying if we're getting a new roof, then, hey, it's a good time to put it
And
down.
the other thing that we need them to, how much sunlight we're gonna get here.
Right.
How much of the day we're
They
gonna
do
get.
they do assessments of it.
Yeah, they did an assessment for the maintenance facility in the past, and I think we could have them easily do one for here as well, and
Yeah.
get some quotes and find out how it would.
Number
how-
one, fiber optic. How extensive is that across the township? Is that just
I signed up.
downtown or something?
It's
You signed up?
basically.
Yeah, we already signed up. My wife
Yeah.
signed up.
I would
Did
say
they,
it's-
did they install it already?
Was that in
Have they
Wilmington?
installed it already for you? Or no?
No, they get, if you have intent, you get like a discount and everything. We signed up. We
Yeah.
wanna get
You
it.
signed up?
I'm going to, yeah.
Nigel?
What?
You sign up?
I don't think they've come to your house yet. That's probably
Yeah,
why.
we got a thing in the mail, like a card thing. So yeah, my wife, we signed up.
Are they covering the rural parts, just urban?
At this point, I think they're just doing the more suburban densities. So basically, all of our neighborhoods. I don't know that they're even going out as far as Hunt Ridge or out Bear Meadows.
what
I'm not
they-
sure if they're going there or not.
What
but-
they said on the thing was that they have most of the line, they've been doing the overhead lines, that's what you've been seeing. And they said, the reason we got the card is they're gonna start going underground. And once they go underground, then we'll be able to sign up. So I know that they're heading that direction, so I don't know.
My neighborhood's not really happy.
I know because you just had
We
your
just got
electric.
torn up, yeah.
You just had
We
electric
get torn
put
up
in.
again.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they do the whole thing. It's,
Oh,
they don't
no,
care.
no, I know, and we got torn up, and we're gonna get torn up
Alright.
again. Because they're gonna stick something in the ground and
So yes, I signed up already for that then.
What about the number 11 with respect to some timing for that one, Mark?
Yeah, I wanted to see when would work for you all. I still need to talk with our solicitor about, specifically those 2 weeks, what would work best for them. But are there days that we should avoid for you? Is either the end of February, first week of March a good time? Like I said, they want to have a lunch meeting, just kind of going over some things here to ensure we're compliant with different
Monday,
acts that apply to us.
Better than later in the week?
Hey, yeah, I mean,
I can never do Fridays. Fridays are always out.
Fridays are out.
Yeah, definitely out.
Wednesdays are not particularly good.
After that,
Monday,
I
Tuesday?
can make it work.
Monday, Tuesday.
So Monday or Tuesday at lunchtime. I know-
Which day are we talking about?
We don't know. He's gonna find out.
If it's.
You want to do it at the end of the month?
Our public safety committee, I think, was moved away from spring break. I forget if it was before or after. I'll have to find that.
County executive is doing Tuesday too, so. Mondays are a little more free for me.
We can invite the COG
Yeah,
executive board.
Mondays are good.
We can invite the COG executive
No.
board. No, we
I
don't want
mean,
them
all
to.
in all, Thursdays are probably the best for me, but
We'll do a doodle poll and see what you end up
I
with.
can do that if you need me to.
Every time I do a doodle poll, it screws my computer up.
That's
least
not-
I will-
That's not the, I'm not gonna go there.
I'll avoid Wednesday and Friday,
Yeah,
and I'll check the
Saturday.
COG calendar too to make sure there's nothing on those
The
days.
2nd and 3rd of March are better than the 23rd and 24th of February for me.
Okay.
Doodle list and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Anything else?
I don't know. Is there any others on?
Anything else on that yellow
I think
sheet?
I've already heard from several of you about the recycling bins up at the park, and it
that's a
seemed
good
like
thing.
that's something you're looking forward
My
to.
note
Yeah.
on the side is yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I like
Yeah,
that.
I was excited about that.
You're excited about recycling?
Are they in yet, or when are they planning on it?
Well, we need to go up and clear a few tree limbs, so probably next week.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
hey, in reference to 10,
Yes.
I don't know who contacted you, it doesn't really matter, but, I had somebody say to me that, he did not feel that the speed detector was in a good place to really analyze the speed on that street. I don't know where we put it, honestly.
Well, we've had them in two directions. So right now, it's probably about halfway up Academy Street, going up the hill.
So
Because
it's
we
not-
already had it where people were coming down the hill about halfway down from
Okay.
Emma. So,
About halfway down is good.
yeah, I don't know why they would feel that going up the hill was in a bad location. We tried not to put
Well, they
it.
said that it's too close to the stop sign. I heard it was too close to the stop
Well,
sign.
when the police had put theirs out a long time ago, it was too close to the stop
Okay.
sign. But I don't know. I'll double check. But I know we've geolocated it on here, and it's about halfway up the hill right now.
That's fine. That's just what I heard. I did
Okay.
not know that was,
Yeah.
so I was told now.
No, we moved. So when the police, they had put them out probably a year or two ago. They put one out, and it was very, very close to the stop sign. So yeah, by the time people were coming down the hill, they were already slowing down.
Yeah.
So when we bought our own, the problem was there was no poles up there for the police to use. We ended up mounting it to a telephone pole with straps. Our guys went out and bought some stuff and strapped it to the pole. Made it work
Nice.
where it was further up the hill where you can capture people while they're still going fast.
Is the speeding consistent going up or down?
That's something I don't know about going up. As far as coming down, didn't really find that there's a lot of excessive speed. The average speed, I think, was well under the speed limit. You're always going to have outliers where someone's driving too fast. So there certainly were cars that were going 35, but I didn't find any, as I recall, on Academy Street that were going 50 or anything, well over 30 or over 25. I think probably 10 miles over was maybe the highest I saw.
As an input to the resident, could you put that data together and make it available for them?
Well, that's what I want to do here. I haven't had time to sit down and put together a memo because it's not just Academy Street. We've had complaints where folks would like to have speed humps out on West Main Street. We've had complaints about speeding on Mary Elizabeth Street. We've had complaints about speeding on Bollesburg Pike even after we've reduced the speed limit. There's other locations where folks have asked me to put these. Honestly, if I had 10 signs, I probably still wouldn't be able to cover all the areas that people want to have a speed hump or some type of traffic calming, because there are people that are driving too fast, and as you all know, the police can't use a radar gun, and there's spots where they just cannot sit and do the timing properly to be able to actually pull people over, and it's frustrating.
Stop signs are better than speed bumps. They're easier to plow.
Not allowed to use stop signs for traffic or speed control.
We didn't. We just put 4 of them out here.
Oh, I understand that, but we had a study that showed that they were required. That's the problem.
I'll study anything. I'll write any study you want.
I have something together on paper, so when Academy Street residents come in, you can show them the up and down
Yeah, and
rate of what people
I
are
just
doing.
wonder sometimes whether, it's like, sometimes I think that people don't think. And I just wonder sometimes whether it isn't a good idea to remind people on a regular basis to please, in our neighborhoods, please, be mindful. Because I just think that sometimes people just don't think. Like, sometimes when you're pulling into my neighborhood off of 45, you can see some people whipping around that corner and they're just not thinking. And by the time they slow down, it's all the way down by Andover. And sometimes it's a little further along than that. But typically, when you go up Willowbrook Drive or come down, Estate, people aren't driving that fast. But sometimes, people aren't really mindful. And I don't think it would hurt to make sure we put out messages to be a little more mindful of your speed in our neighborhood. I think that that's a nice thing. And in addition, I just wanted to bring up, is it possible to put like a poopy notice out?
What?
There's a lot of dog poopy around, a lot of dog poopy. And I know that it's not supposed to be around. Do you think we need to put a poopy notice out?
yeah, I might call it something different in the e-update, but yeah, we can put something out reminding folks.
Yeah,
Are you talking about in public places?
Yes,
or,
in public places.
Yeah, because I know we had a complaint not terribly long ago about accumulated dog waste out at an apartment complex, but if
Yeah.
you're seeing it in public locations, certainly.
This is along Main Street,
Yeah, we
and,
can-
not so bad Willowbrook, I mean, it's terrible over at the Military Museum, I won't even go over
It
there.
really shows in the snow.
But
That's
it's,
the-
I mean, it's, besides that, I was like, oh my gosh, I was walking the dogs on Main Street, it's like, you gotta be kidding me. By the pet pub, that's disgusting. I don't know who's been doing that,
A dog marked my stoop.
so.
I can tell because it's yellow.
If there's no other questions, I don't have any other I was going to call out unless there's
Anything else,
questions on
Matt?
specific.
Okay,
Thank you.
anyone care to spend some cash?
I move that we approve voucher number 2026-1 in the amount of $359,613.72.
Any concerns by anybody?
Second.
We got a second from Nigel.
Any red flags or?
I didn't see any. Yeah, I didn't see any of this one.
Okay.
Saw a big number in there though.
Still got the long list of electric meters that won't go away, so.
What was the big number thing? I saw a big number one in there. What the heck was that?
Comcast Business, $1.23. What is it?
I'm not sure. I'd have to ask Bridget. I don't know exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, $1.23.
And the one above it, $7.74, so, okay. Have a motion to, accept vouchers, we had a second?
Yeah, Nigel second.
Okay. Discussion? Not hearing any, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Okay. Let's move on to committee reports.
Can I ask a
Executive
question
committee.
real quick before we move on? I'm sorry. When you say Mountain Indian Health partial refund of surety, what exactly does that mean?
Oh,
Let me see. Where was this at?
It's in the
Surety.
vouchers.
Yeah, I'm just going to
I
say.
just don't quite
What was it?
understand.
Mount Nittany Health. Can you tell me
215.
which page is it on?
the surety.
I think I know,
Oh,
but I
it
want
was-
to make sure I know.
It's. Let me see. Was it? Sorry, I'm trying to find it on here.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was on, I think it was on like the second page.
Oh, the 134,000
Yeah.
partial
Yeah.
refund. So they had to post surety for some site improvements to
Yes,
their
okay.
facility. They got some of those improvements done, so we released a portion of that money
Okay,
back.
Oh, okay.
yep. Thank you.
That's becoming,
That was probably the big number you saw, Frank.
that's a very interesting architectural pleasing building. It's looking nice. Okay, executive committee set the general forum agenda, and we did not zero into anything particular. Land use infrastructure, we spent most of the time talking about the 537 pump station issue on Meeks Lane, which we've been talking about for 4 to 5 years now, so. And the Center County Solar Group, we met in exec session under legal issues, so. Finance,
I didn't get, Mark, do you have anything to, nothing that, other than, we're working on the fund balance policy and.
I didn't know if you wanted to have any discussion about the COG resolution issue at all.
Well, we can do that later. Let's do that at
Okay.
the end.
That's fine.
But finance, now, one thing I did look at, and this is what my concern was when we were getting rid of committees. There was an issue we're gonna discuss this week at finance that should have gone through the facilities committee, but it now ended up in finance, and that's my concern of them getting rid of committees, but that's a whole nother project. So anything, State College Area Connector, we're still waiting on the NEPA report. MPO did not meet this month.
You get anything on the connector on the appointment of that committee we talked about last month in terms of, has that group met since then, or?
Yeah, they
You're
did.
talking about for coming down the road here?
Yeah, the
we anointed-
45 committee.
We anointed somebody too.
I think you're referring to the design review committee.
Yeah.
That PennDOT asked for a representative for historic resources.
I thought we were talking about the community group.
I notified them that Tracy was appointed, but
okay.
I don't know when they're planning to meet. I don't know when they're gonna
Anything
have
from
that committee assembled
anything
yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Parks, she's Parks.
Oh, okay.
Who, me?
Yeah, Parks Capital.
I don't have anything to add, except what I had said earlier about the, what we're working on.
And same with governance?
You know what, that was governance, but, you know, I might have missed a meeting because quite frankly, I've been a little messed up and you know why. So, I gotta catch up. So,
Okay.
I don't think I did though, but, oops.
Center Region Park Authority.
So, Park Authority, kind of their bigger projects they're looking at, they're looking to re-plaster the pool at Welsh. It's kind of end of life. That's kind of one of the bigger, more, impactful things they're going to be doing here. They're looking at the Thompson Woods Preserve, kind of what they had done in there. They've got like a forest management plan looking to really get rid of a large invasive population. It might be disruptive because they're looking to do an aggressive removal of the invasives to try to actually get rid of them. But kind of similar to what they had done in Walnut Springs, and they're looking to get more education and branding around that. There was the Department of Aging grant that was secured that'll get new chairs into the center in the mall, that I think is going to have a big impact on what they're able to offer as far as programming, which is nice. And they had a new contractor agreement that was passed that has much better, it's much more substantial, has better legal definitions and coverage for the authority and the COG, and it's kind of in line with similar agreements that exist. So that was pretty much it. And then as far as climate action and sustainability, that happened concurrently with the Parks and Rec Authority, so I couldn't go, but it was a joint meeting, so Denny had me covered.
I represented your interests well.
You represented me well. Thank you.
Nigel?
Okay, public safety, pretty much housekeeping for the first meeting of the year. We did have a presentation about a PSU class that's studying and making recommendations for a COG emergency preparedness project. So we'll be hearing more about that. But they just brought some data, some research they've done for what we've done in the past, how we've done in the past for emergencies, and I guess they're going to come up with some recommendations at some point.
I saw on something that the COG tour is concentrating on the fire stations. They're doing a number of tours in different facilities. The Alpha Station and the Patton Station are on that list of places to go visit for newly appointed
Right.
residents.
Of course,
Yeah.
we don't participate in that, but
Yeah. Okay. We want to spend some time talking about the resolution, or I'm fine skipping it. And it's an executive session decision.
Your executive committee?
No, the item we talked about with respect to a resolution.
Yeah, so I was thinking back to what Vice Chair Harden said at the COG about taking this back, and it's fine if you don't want to discuss it, but I thought the intention was to have each board talk about whether or not you were supportive of having that on the general forum so that you as the exec member would have direction. That was my understanding, but Frank, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
The only thing the reason we need, this board, and there's at least 3 of us sitting here that when we did this, is several years back, we agreed that we were not going to be doing political resolutions anymore or even discussing them because they took up our time and they really didn't do anything. So we talked about that, I'm going to say in 18, 19, somewhere around there. I can't remember the last one we did. But we decided at that point that this board would not do political resolutions again. And I see that's exactly what I see here. It's a political resolution. I am firmly against it. In fact, if it's discussed at the COG, I will probably get up and walk out. I'm not going to sit and listen to that stuff going on. I don't need to be doing that. We have enough to do locally. We don't need to be messing with that.
It's been more divisive than I think.
Yes, it is, and that's all it is when you talk about it. It just makes it more divisive.
But now, is this board now, with the 5 of us, in agreement? I just want to make sure that, you know, a board 3 years ago, but as a board right now, in agreement with what you're saying. I think that's important to establish, don't you?
I think my thoughts on it are, I personally I support what it says, but to what Frank says, we need to take care of what we need to do at the COG, and I don't like how much time it took out of the general forum meeting.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so it took a long time.
It took half the meeting to kind of discuss that. And I do think that does take away from the job that we're there to do. Like, we're there to serve the public in a very certain way. I think that if that's something we want to take up at the end when the regular business is done, kind of like what we're doing right now, you know, again, like, totally support what the resolution says, but like was brought up in the discussion, it's entirely a performative action. It has no teeth. I can see both sides of the argument, whereas, you know, does it do anything to bring it up? Are we representing the people that voted us in by, you know, discussing it? I'm torn on it because, you know, again,
But does it belong in the COG when all we're doing in the COG is we are not a political, we are not anything. We are solely there to manage the assets of the shared townships. We are not there to do anything but manage those assets of the shared townships. So does it belong in COG?
That's my biggest problem with it.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem with that being the venue for it.
But now when we come back here, are we in agreement? I think that we all need to decide whether we're in agreement with Frank that it's not an issue that we should be focusing on. Political issues, not what we should be focusing on the local level either.
But the question that Mark raised was, do we carry it to COG exec? And what I look at in terms of head moving says no.
No.
I agree. My point is that COG is not a government entity.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and getting all the municipalities to agree, somebody bringing that up really opens a can of worms. Yeah. That's just a waste of time. And, you know, like, I was at home, zoomed into that meeting, and I just shut it all out. It's like, we're not getting anything done here. And nobody was going to convince a majority of the COG to do anything.
So my colleagues here would say that if we go back to exec, that we don't support the resolution.
We don't think it belongs there.
I think it's outside.
I think it doesn't belong there.
I think it's outside the scope.
Yeah, it shouldn't even get on the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, it's not that we don't support. It's just that it doesn't belong there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not.
I like Chris's term, outside the scope.
Yep.
It's like an apples and oranges kind of thing.
Okay.
But what about locally?
No, if we want, if you're welcome, if you think we should introduce something, make a resolution or a proclamation about something political because we feel that it's negatively, if something at a higher level is negatively affecting us, I think there's no reason why we shouldn't do that. I mean, we write a letter to PennDOT because we don't like what they're proposing over here. What's the difference? It's like we don't like it if ICE starts knocking on the door of Mount Nittany Middle School, or starts cruising through Ashworth Woods, because that's, or Center Estates, because those are the most likely places they're gonna find the kind of people they're looking for. And so I personally think that's something we could consider at a local level.
Okay.
But it doesn't belong in the common.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All of us want to second at the same time?
Sure.
Second.
You don't ever have to worry about getting a motion like that out of me, but I'm ready to adjourn.
Thanks, folks.